Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live in a world that was completely different from the one we know today? Long ago, in a time when people lived for hundreds of years, there was a man named Noah. Noah was a righteous man who walked faithfully with God. In those days, the world was filled with violence and corruption, and it broke God's heart to see his creation in such a state. One day, God spoke to Noah and said, "I have decided to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth." But God had a plan to save Noah and his family, along with the animals of the earth. He instructed Noah to build an ark, a massive vessel that would be their refuge during the great flood that was to come. It's important to note that the ark was not a boat or a ship designed for sailing, but more like a barge, meant to float on the waters. The ark was an incredible structure, measuring over 500 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet high. To put that into perspective, it was bigger than 3 football fields put together. Can you imagine how much work it must have taken to build something so enormous? Noah set to work, following God's instructions carefully. It took him and his family over 100 years to complete the ark. As they worked, Noah warned the people around him about what was going to come, urging them to turn from their wicked ways and seek God's forgiveness. The Bible, in 2 Peter 2 verse 5 tells us that Noah was a preacher of righteousness, but sadly, the people did not take his warnings seriously. In those days, people lived for centuries, giving them plenty of time to become skilled at their crafts. We don't know exactly what kind of technology they had, but with such long lifespans, they were sure to have developed advanced tools and techniques. When the time came, God sent the animals to the ark. The Bible tells us in Genesis 7 verses 2 to 3, "Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens also, male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth." This distinction between clean and unclean animals is important, as it shows that God had a specific plan for the creatures he sent to the ark. It's fascinating to consider that God would have sent dinosaurs to the ark as well. While the Bible doesn't specifically mention dinosaurs, it does tell us that God sent representatives of all the kinds of air-breathing land animals to Noah. Dinosaurs, being land animals, would have been included in this group. But how could such large creatures fit on the ark? One possibility is that God sent young dinosaurs, along with other large animals like giraffes and rhinoceroses, to the ark. These younger animals would have been smaller and easier to care for during the long journey. It's a testament to God's wisdom and power that he could orchestrate such an incredible event, ensuring the survival of all his creatures. Caring for the animals on the ark would have been a daunting task, but it may have been easier in those days. According to Genesis 9, it wasn't until after the flood that God put a fear of humans into the animals and allowed mankind to start eating meat. Before the flood, both humans and animals were vegetarians, and there was harmony between them. This suggests that the animals on the ark were likely more docile and easier to manage than the animals we know today. But God didn't just send the animals, he also instructed Noah to gather provisions for his family and all the creatures on the ark. In Genesis 6 verse 21, God tells Noah, "You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them." Can you imagine how much food it must have taken to feed all those animals and Noah's family for the duration of their time on the ark? Noah had to plan carefully to ensure that there would be enough food and water for everyone on board. He may have gathered grains, fruits, and vegetables that could be stored for long periods, as well as hay and other plant materials for the animals to eat. Water would have also been a crucial provision, not just for drinking but for the animals' needs as well. It's incredible to think about the level of preparation and organization that went into stocking the ark with enough provisions to sustain all its inhabitants for the long journey ahead. But Noah trusted in God's plan and followed his instructions faithfully, knowing that God would provide for their needs. Finally, when everything was ready, Noah and his family entered the ark, and God himself closed the door behind them. The sky grew dark, and rain began to fall. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights, until the whole earth was covered in water. But Noah and his family were safe inside the ark, riding out the storm with the animals God had entrusted to their care. In fact, Noah, his family, and the animals were on the ark for over a year before it came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The Bible tells us that the floodwaters prevailed on the earth for 150 days, and that Noah and his family entered the ark in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, and they left the ark on the 27th day of the second month of the following year. When the ark finally came to rest and the ground was dry, Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices to God in thanksgiving for his protection and provision. And God made a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy the earth with a flood. As a sign of this covenant, God set a rainbow in the clouds, saying, "I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Genesis 9 verse 13. The rainbow serves as a beautiful reminder of God's faithfulness and his love for his creation. Whenever we see a rainbow stretching across the sky, we can remember the promise God made to Noah and take comfort in knowing that he always keeps his word. The account of Noah's Ark is a powerful testament to the importance of faith and obedience in the face of seemingly impossible circumstances. Just as Noah trusted God and followed his commands, even when the rest of the world refused to listen, we too can trust in God's plan for our lives, knowing that he will never leave us or forsake us.